Hello everybody and welcome to my channel Marley Design. Today I would like to share with you my flip through of this journal that I created for Cori. It took, well, especially me, a long time to get everything done. But finally it is here, it is okay, I'm finished, and I would like to show you what I made for Cori. Let's first start with the cover, where I made a collage of all kinds of papers in the background. I have worked with some green tones and also with some gold and yellow tones, so you will see that throughout this whole journal. I will repeat those colors and this color scheme. On top I have made a band, a quite large white band, with one of the Tim Holtz portrait dolls. And yeah, I made like a little cluster around the boy with all kinds of papers and ephemera. So I have some labels with some remnant drops on top, some little labels over here and here. I have some ephemera, some threads, and some kind of cheesecloth, mummy cloth underneath. Over the whole width of the band, I have all kinds of fabrics, also the Tim Holtz fabrics with the rulers, all kinds of loose dark black threads that I stitched along, and on top one of the large quotes, those metal quotes. I really like them and I really like to crunch them up a little bit. Now let's go to the inside of the journal. I can untie everything on the side. It is only tied with a knot and a bow. Now let's go to the inside of the book. And I made some kind of collaged page over here. And I also did that in the back. So I have the same overall look. In the background I have the Tim Holtz collage papers, just little pieces of it that is visible. And then on top I created a collage with some large labels, some smaller labels, some pieces of text in between. These are out of the Tim Holtz ephemera pack. Then on top I had some pops of red with some numbers. And to finish it all off, I placed some of the mini paper dolls on the ephemera pieces. And last but not least, I also did some stamping on some clear areas. Let's start with this first page. I really adore the doll portraits. They are amazing. I love that you can use those transparent wings behind it. And on top I have made a little bit of a cluster, also with some threads underneath and in between the layers, and some pieces of fabric. Here we have the next two pages, so there is some room for Cori to write, journal, or put her pictures or photos or something like that on top. And over here I created a pocket, quite simple, and inside I have some clusters and ephemera pieces for Cori to work with, so she can create things for herself. I have cut out one of the snapshots in an oval shape and stacked them up with a green underlayer, some ledger paper, and of course the photo on top with a little collage on the bottom. Here I made a slide in pocket. You can see that I used the transparencies. And you can also see that the oval that I have cut out here, I have used here in the background. So you always have double fun with your papers. On the inside I have put some old invoices out of an office in Amsterdam. So Cori can do with it what she wants, maybe collage or maybe scan them. And then on this side I made a little cluster with the new birds out of the layers pack from Tim Holtz. And the cluster is made just with a ticket underneath, a little label, some numbers, and I just clipped it all down on the side with a paper clip. And the nice thing about this is when you put this on this side of the page and clip it down, you can repeat those steps for the other side. Also, I created a little cluster with some labels. I used some remnant rubs. There are papers behind the cluster, so Cori can take them out and use them. But yeah, just a little cluster like this on top will embellish your whole page and papers immediately. So here we have just a little page as an embellishment for this journal. I have the frame and of course a backside. In the middle I have some leaves that I dried last summer. So I got out in the garden and in the forest and everything and got some leaves and flowers, put them in a very thick book and into a book press. And yeah, and I made it into a plasticized well, rectangle shape and glued it in between the frame and the background. So to make the background of this quite appealing also for this journal, I created a little pocket on the bottom with a little label on top with a remnant rub, and for Cori to pick out some of these labels or ephemera just to play with. On this side I created two small pockets inserts, so you can separately move them back and forth. So this is a tag shape. I wanted the colors to be repeated, so I used the green again, also a label, and I have put in some labels and ephemera. In the background you can see that I covered this tag with all kinds of strips of the Tim Holtz design tape, so you will have an instant background. And then on the back I used the Tim Holtz collage paper, the newest one from the Ideology release 2023, with the beautiful pictures and text. And I just covered it in a little bit of ink and staining and some pieces of the design tape. So for this one I used some of the Tim Holtz paper pads with a bit of yellow and gold color in it. And on top the Do Not Rush little card from the new Tim Holtz ephemera layers pack. Some little bits and pieces inside for Cori. The base of this pocket is one of the large tickets out of the Tim Holtz ticket book. These tickets are empty on the back, they are clear, so it will give you a blank canvas to play with. And I did the same as I did on the bottom tag. There is a layer of collage paper and some strips of design tape. And I did some brownish staining with the Distress Ink Vintage Photo. Here we have quite a neutral page in yellow tones. I decided just to add some of the real ephemera, the old invoices, and on top a little cluster. I made the clusters all together so they will have the same and cohesive look. And like I did before, I clipped one on this side, but I also clipped one on this side. So again, the old papers are the background. On top we have this cute little bird card. a stamped word with a tiny attacher, some tickets, some numbers and some labels. Here we have a blank page and it is up to Cori what she wants to do with it. Maybe she wants to write, maybe she wants to create a collage herself, maybe she wants to create an art page or add a picture. So this is for her to give her some room and some space to work. Let's go to the other side where I created a collage. In the background I have used the Tim Holtz Backdrops Volume 4. I blended in some of the remnant rubs over here. I made a line with this tape. I really enjoy using this tape. It really brings contrast in your work because of the dark color. I have some pieces of ephemera here and there. And this is one of the new Photomatic photos with a little stamped number on top attached with the tiny attacher. A very simple and easy slide-in pocket with some labels on top that I aged a little bit with some vintage photo ink. And the journal also provides enough room for Cori to decorate and embellish herself, because besides sending her this journal, I'm also sending her all kinds of little bits and pieces to work with. So some labels, some tickets and some stamped items. So there is enough clear space for her to embellish herself. I created a little envelope with one of the die cuts of the chapter 3 from Tim Holtz last year, 2022. And in the pocket itself, because this one is attached on top of a pocket, in the pocket I created this beautiful little collage. All kinds of papers that Cori can use herself. Now let's open this envelope. I have created a bundle of labels just with some lined paper that I stained with some distress ink, and I have used the correspondence stamp set to make a little bit of embellishment on top. Right here I have made a journal page with one of the doll portraits. I really enjoy looking at this guy. He is really interesting. I have added some of the transparent wings on the back. Made a little paper collage on top and used the same materials as I did before on the lady. So I have some little pieces of fabric and black thread underneath and in between the layers. And you can also see on the edges of this page I used pieces of design tape, and the design tape is called Collector, the Tim Holtz Collector design tape. Another empty page for Cori to fill up on her own. On this side I have created the same little envelope, and also in the pocket a collage with all kinds of ephemera that can be used in the journal itself by Cori if she wants to. Now let's open up this envelope. Also on this side I created something to put inside. Also again used my stamp set. This is the field note stamp set and the eccentric stamp set, and it's just nice to stamp in different kind of colors. So I've used a brown tone, a green tone, a red tone, and just add those little pieces inside of this journal, this little envelope, so there is enough to play with. On this side I created the same kind of slide-in pocket because everything that I made in the beginning of the book I also created and recreated it for the back of the book. So you will see same or similar pages from now on. So the slide-in pocket, some old invoices, the labels clipped down, an empty page for Cori to work with. Even if there is a tear like this, this is coffee or tea stained paper. So It's a little bit fragile, but that's okay. I like the vintage vibe. Over here I've done a same layout for this art journal page. Same materials, same backdrops, volume 4, little pieces of ephemera inside. Again, a photomatic picture of this nice man, a stamped word, and attached it with the tiny attacher. And in the background I have blended in some of the remnant drops. Again, a quite clear and empty page, but you can still make that work by adding some old papers and a little cluster on top. So I created this cluster of the bird with some labels, little pieces of ephemera, a little ticket, a stamped word, and just clip it on the side of your page. And it's already embellished. I also clipped something down on this side, and it does not matter if you clip it down on the top of the page or on the bottom. Everything is just fine however you like it or however you want it to be. So again, a little cluster. I repeated the same pockets that I did in the front with the word out of the layer pack. I put some tickets inside for Cori. Over here the same, a tag shaped pocket with some labels inside, the little label on top as an embellishment, and also on the back the same embellishment that I did before, and that is the Tim Holtz collage paper. Again, a little pocket, labels, all stained with the Distressed Vintage photo. Again, a little label on top with a remnant drop, a bold number that will catch your eyes. And on this side I have the same plasticized piece of leaf that I did in the front, but in this case the frame has a gold color. Again, some clusters. I will put it in a little bit more straight like this. What you can see is that I also used some pieces of the transparent things too. I think this is just a leftover that I had laying around, so never throw that away. You can always push it in between layers in some kind of cluster. On the other side, the old papers in the back, the little bird on top, same materials, similar layout, but I repeated those steps for a matching look. On this page I also did an oval cutout of one of the snapshots. So I have a layered stack of papers, the green oval in the back, some ledger paper and the photo, a little collage on the bottom, and of course I have put in again a layered piece of ephemera. Here you can see the repetition of the transparency that I used on this green page. It's a slide-in pocket with some old invoices. This is a journal that can be seen as finished, but it's also a possibility for the recipient to work on even further and to keep adding things like papers or stamps, frames, pictures, notes. It doesn't have to be done. And then last but not least, we're going to this page, this lovely lady. I added some butterfly wings to her back, a little paper collage on top, some loose threads and pieces of fabric, attached also with a tiny attacher, some tickets, some snippets, some numbers, and then this is what you will have. This was my flip through for you guys. I will wrap it up again, the journal for Cori, so I can pack it all up and send it to her. Well, Cori, I hope you will enjoy. Bye, everybody.